U.S.-based Firefly Aerospace has made history, become the second only private company to land on the moon on its first try. Its lunar lander, Blue Ghost, after a historic touchdown, has also successfully completed its 14-day mission on the lunar surface, potentially reshaping the future of space exploration. Joining us now is CEO of Firefly Aerospace, Jason Kim, to give us a first-hand account of this monumental achievement. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Hey, good morning to everybody in South Korea. How is everyone doing?
I think we're doing well. It's warming up finally, so we're excited about that.
Oh, great.
Jason, your team must be over the moon with the recent success. As your chief engineer rightfully noted, you stuck the landing and you have those moon dust on your boots. It was the world's second ever lunar landing by a private company, and the first, if considering only upright and stable landings. It probably goes without saying it's celebratory, the moon. How do you feel, Jason?
Well, I'm just so proud of our employees here. They've worked so hard, and this is actually their first spacecraft that they've built and operated. And so the fact that space is really hard and landing on the moon is even harder, and this was their first time, incredible. I'm just amazed and awestruck by them.
Jason, just to ease our listeners into the conversation, when you look up at the moon, does it feel a little different now?
Yeah, it does. I think about all the names that each of our employees and our key investors are on a plaque that's on the lunar lander, on the Blue Ghost lunar lander. And it's going to be there for a long time. And if you stare up at the moon from the U.S., it's the northeast portion of the moon facing us.
For our listeners who may be yet unfamiliar, and I feel like after this segment they will be familiar, can you give us an overview of Firefly Aerospace? I understand it began as a startup more than a decade ago. It has grown in size in such sheer scale that is so monumental that I think it's worth highlighting.
Yeah, Firefly Aerospace was founded in 2017, and we have about 750 employees. We're based here in Cedar Park, Texas, near Austin, Texas. And we include engineers, technicians, and business operations staff that come from all walks of life. We build launch vehicles or rockets. We also build lunar landers and on-orbit spacecraft to support both governments and commercial missions across cislunar space and low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, geosynchronous orbit, and beyond.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the missions accomplished. Over its 14-day mission on the moon, Blue Ghost completed several key missions, which included drilling, retrieving samples, deploying electrodes, capturing high-definition imagery. This might just all be lost to my listeners, so you need to elaborate just a little bit further. You mentioned proudly you now had some moon dust on your boots, but I mean, moon dust could be a hazard for future astronauts too. So can you walk us through these key missions? What was accomplished and what are its significance?
Well, as you know, this is Firefly's mission, and we provided a service to take 10 NASA instruments and payloads to the lunar surface and provide all the science data that each of those payloads collected. And it includes things like science and technology demonstrations, including tracking GPS signals on the moon for the first time. So if you imagine in the future there's humans and robotics that are operating on the moon surface, you need that kind of GPS signal. We demonstrated new ways to mitigate hazardous lunar dust, like you said. You don't want to breathe in that lunar dust. So there was a electrodynamic dust shield that basically repelled the lunar dust from the surface of the EDS payload. And then we robotically drilled and collected science deeper into the lunar surface than ever before. And so all this was done in the 14 days, and we collected all 10 payloads, collected science data, and we're just proud of that because, at the end of the day, it's more than just sticking the landing and being stable and upright, but it's also providing the 14 days of reliable lunar surface operations. So this is all going to help with future robotic and crewed missions to the moon and Mars.
And I know that you have more lunar surface and scientific research to do in the coming months and years. And I'll want to ask you about the follow-up missions very soon. Can we also talk about the significance of this is so phenomenal. Capturing the eclipse and the phenomenon known as lunar horizon glow. It stood out as one of the key highlights of Blue Ghost mission this time around. In fact, from what I understand, the lunar sunset is something only the Apollo 15 and Apollo 17 astronauts were able to witness prior to this mission. So that sounds incredible just on paper. What makes this observation significant, Jason?
Well, I think what's different in 2025 is that we captured all this imagery and video in high definition imagery. That's using the latest commercial technology.
Right.
And we were able to do bonus operations of collecting the solar eclipse, even the lunar sunset from Blue Ghost's unique vantage on the moon. And this is the first time in history a commercial company operated on the moon during these unique phenomenon. We're really proud of the images we were able to capture that will allow NASA to measure these changes in the lunar dust and radiation environment during things like eclipses and sunset, which will be important for future missions on the moon. But that lunar horizon glow was one of the things I was really looking forward to, because it's one of the things that the last person on the moon, Eugene Cerna, wrote notes about seeing. And, now we can share what we were able to capture in high definition with the rest of the world.
If you have, obviously, access to not just, I would say, Firefly's website, but you can actually go on these articles and see clips of it. So that's really exciting. You decide to share parts of it, right?
Yeah, I think we've got over 160 gigabytes of data, and we're still going through it all. Even NASA's going through all the data that they've collected. So it was a credible amount of information and game-changing science that is going to be, creating new types of, understanding of the moon, even the solar and Earth interactions. And so we're very much looking forward to the results of the data.
Jason, I do wonder, what are some of the inherent challenges of trying to land on the moon? Because landing on the lunar surface is such a complex challenge that only a total of 5 countries have so far successfully achieved it to date. What were some of the biggest hurdles for Blue Ghost?
Well, that's right. My team made it look incredibly easy, but by no mistake, it's not easy at all. It's really, really hard to operate in the harsh environment of space. And as you know, we went through a 45-day journey to the moon. And so